It's a vibe. It's a vibe. It's always a vibe on a sunrise morning.
Well, it's always a vibe when you win. And
well,
Dennis and I don't know any other vibe at this point.
Try to tell them you're gonna lose, so just come and enjoy yourself. And I don't know.
Hey,
I don't know.
Them shook, you know?
Them shook it.
Shook, you know?
Them shook it. But it's a perfect precursor to the round table, and so I suppose they'll, take good energy into it because we kind of rubbed off on them. I'm gonna say a special shout out to our YouTube massive: Yvonne Codling, Divine Ray, Crystal Reed, Kerry Gordon, Palma Grandison, Marsha Mitchell. Thank you so much for rising with us every morning. You guys are some staples, man. Marcia Fraser Coons said, "Good morning. I enjoy the new CVM. We enjoy having you as well as part of our Sunrise family."
Of course. Also, a special big up to one of our Sunrise YouTube presidents, Sharon Stewart.
Yeah.
Hey, Prezi, we see you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. All right, that's all the time we have for today, Sunrisers. Always, as you know, if you missed anything or you just want to rewatch your favorite segments, we do got you covered. We do got you covered. We've got you covered always now. All right.
Baby, we got
at
you.
CVMTV.com. And for all the fun stuff in between, where we at, Dennis?
We're at Instagram, at Sunrise CVM.
Where else, Dennis?
At CVM_television,
That's
baby.
right now.
We got you, baby.
Just stay with us. Come on now. Also, don't miss this evening's lead story with George Davis at when, Dennis?
At 6:30, baby.
All right.
Come on now.
You know what else is happening?
Yeah.
We gonna Copa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't say enough, darling.
Actually, you know what? Let's just do it again then. Copa. The countdown is on for this Thursday. The action kicks off live on CVM. I think we have one more YouTube big up. What was that YouTube big up?
Wilson. Big up. All right, the Roundtable squad is good at something. They're good at taking over after us. Big up.
Bye, guys.
Happy Tuesday, everyone. Welcome to Roundtable. I'm Raymond, and joining me this morning at the table is my co-host, Kirk, and our very, very special returning guest, the gorgeous Dr. Sandra Swaby. Welcome to the Roundtable.
Thank you for having me. You guys look amazing. Thank you.
Well, if you say that, I take that as certification, but you look awesome, Sandra.
Thank you. And you're never losers in my mind.
Well,
we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it.
I was just getting over it. Listen, I feel traumatized. Viewers, we walked into a studio. It's like
it was an
lamb
ambush.
to the slaughter, ambush. The crowd buy out, everything stacked against us. No, I don't know what happened. I am dizzy. And you know what? Yendi is my friend, and Dennis is my brother, and it's like, I didn't see this coming. And our buzzer, was our buzzer buzzering?
Listen, we pressed it so many times, I don't know.
Boy, I tell you.
I don't know.
Speaking of buzz, however, it's now time to check what's been buzzing online in our social buzz. Check this out.
Introducing Ectolife, the world's first artificial womb facility, powered entirely by renewable energy. Ectolife allows infertile couple to conceive a baby and become the true biological parents of their own offspring. It's a perfect solution for women who had their uterus surgically removed due to cancer or other complications. With Ectolife, premature births and C-sections will be a thing of the past. Ectolife is designed to help countries that are suffering from severe population decline, including Japan, Bulgaria, South Korea, and many others. The facility features...
Oh, I don't know what to say about that. Yeah. It's like I spent such a chunk of my time watching movies like Resident Evil, The Matrix, Minority Report, and every day these unbelievable sci-fi movie plots become news. In other words, it's being reported as news because it's actually happening.
Yes, it is. It feels a bit dystopian, like when you look at it, like what level of the population has declined to for you to need a facility like that.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's population decline. I think it's just a shift in in priorities, a shift in cultural norms. You know, women are getting more busy in the workplace. They're taking the CEO, and so we have less time to be 9 months pregnant. I think.
Yeah.
And not only that, the research shows that fertility in women is actually on the decline around the world due to the food we're eating and water we're intaking, pollution. So, but I'm not too 100% sure about that kind of facility, because then it lends to genetic manipulation and, you know, us breeding
Which we will
super.
dive into, actually.
Yes. But let's see.
It's so weird. I mean, it causes you to have to, well, me, I had to stop and think about it. And like, is this really happening? Is this really part of our future?
Yes.
And the odd thing is, it really is happening, and it is really a part of our future.
You know, I wouldn't say suffered, but I had great difficulty in conceiving.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've never held a fetus to termination, meaning to 9 months.
Yes.
So my daughter is adopted. So I'm very open to a facility like this, but I'm still saying that it should need a little. It needs to be regulated. We need some rules. We need some overarching policies.
And speaking about overarching policies, we're going to go now to Bag of Things, which is Kirk's Bag of Things.
This is me, and this is my kickboxing student for 6 months. Welcome to Ruthless Rumble. Ooh, that was a heavy leg kick, but we're prepped for this fight. My boy answered back with a quick hook cross and a beautiful check hook. And a chopping leg kick of his own. But his opponent replied with a heavy one back in return. Even the audience telling him to check those kicks. But his opponent is being like DJ Khaled, and another one. So yeah, this is my bag of things. For those of you who don't know, I'm a kickboxing coach, black belt in Taekwondo, training in MMA, BJJ, everything.
What's BJJ?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
Which is a grappling martial arts.
Yes, I know.
Right. So yeah, I coach, and my student, who has been training with me for 6 months, decided that, you know, he wants to fight. We had this fundraiser, which was that event right there. We call it Ruthless Rumble. And they were raising funds for Jamaican athletes to go to Spain to compete. So that's what the whole event was about, and my student competed, and me feeling like a proud dad that he won his fight.
Yes.
Yeah. I made that video and put it all together.
There's nothing more amazing than two large men of color rumbling.
It's 8 something a.m. Underline the a.m. All right.
I loved it. I just said I loved it.
That you did.
I loved it.
Now we have something else I'm hoping you're gonna love. Being served hot right now. Thank you very much. All right.
Ooh.
I added one on the chart a few weeks ago, so I can't read this without that. So, the ethics.
Ethics. Big things.
Big E, ethics of genetic engineering.
Yeah.
Right? And
Let's go.
Yeah, and if you go back to the social buzz, you spoke about the need for regulations around something such as, you know, facility that develops a human fetus in an artificial environment.
Yeah.
So.
Not only that, we also have to think about marginalized population that may not have access to this facility. What's the cost structure going to be like? Will it only be for the wealthy? Will the wealthy say, okay, listen, I need 3 fetuses that are doctors or engineers or piano players?
Yeah.
What about persons who may not have the financial wherewithal to access that facility?
And if we put on the lenses of genetic engineering, what if, for example, going back to your bag of things, there is a time in the future where parents can decide, I want my son to be a kickboxer. To be trained by Kirk, to go to Spain, and to beat up everybody.
Regarding your point, like who can pay for it, who has access to it, I think it comes down to, yes, it will be the rich who gets access to it first, right? So because those things are very expensive and it takes a lot of time to master, in a sense, where research and development has to go in heavy.
At the start.
For things to, at the start, for things to actually work out the way you want. Right.
And what's good for mankind, because that's what we're aiming for. What is best for mankind? The thing about it is that in these facilities, if we do not understand that, diversity and our flaws and the imperfections are what makes us nice.
This is my overall concern with genetic engineering, because there's going to be an ideal, let's call that Alpha 1, and everybody's going to determine based on social media, based on the fashion industry, that Alpha 1 is the only desirable set of characteristics. Then what happened to everybody who is, unlike me, not Alpha 1?
And then we're not going to be motivated to live the lifestyle, to become better version of ourselves, to be active, eat right, drink water, lifespan. That was such an amazing plug.
It wasn't a shameless plug. That's an amazing plug. Right.
But what motivation will we have to really exert ourselves to improve on our existence?
Right.
Ooh, lots of questions.
I'm on the side of I'm all for it.
All for the genetic engineering?
I'm all for it.
Okay.
Once it's been developed to a point where it's safe, right? So, who's to tell me that I cannot design my baby, my child, my future child, to look a certain way? What if I want, my wife's eyes, my lips, my brain, my wife's hair, her skin tone, all of that stuff.
But we get
But you
that.
designed it already. You have a sperm and an egg.
We
come
have
together.
that.
No. What I'm talking about is the genetic engineering that gives you specific
You want the
colors.
certainty of knowing.
It's going to get your eyes, right?
But that takes away the fun. And then you have people like Mendel and all of the others, the early geneticists who designed the Punnett square. You take away the fun out of the, and the surprise, because, to be honest, I have a problem with even the gender reveal. Go get the ultrasound. This is a healthy fetus. Everything is healthy. On month 9, when the child comes at the end of the term, you want 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 eyes, 2 ears, and everything in between that works.
And is that part of life, waiting to see what your kids are going to grow up to be, seeing the influence that you'll have on them? If they're already genetically engineered, they're not going to care whatever worries, because Mommy, you already made me perfect. Now, I want to do some parenting too.
I like that too. That's what I'm saying. I like that.
Listen.
Like, imagine you're giving your child the benefit of being, quote unquote, perfect. Right, they're born physically a specimen, literally.
We're gonna take this up. We're gonna take up the concept of engineering the perfect child after the break.
Perfect.
Welcome back to the Roundtable this morning. Today's topic is definitely one of the ones that will always stand out in my mind, the ethics of genetic engineering. Now, like, genetic modified organisms have been with us for a while, usually within the plant realm, and some animals for agriculture. Now we're talking about within the human realm. And I'm wondering, so they're the obvious benefits, right? If you can know ahead a way to manipulate a gene so that an offspring does not have the propensity for diabetes or cancer, it seems like a plus. But is there at any point, Kirk, that for you there will be a minus?
The minus or the con for me, or this has gone too far, that point, what you're talking about, would be, for example, when we get to the point of sport and competition, right? For example, if I've modified my child, to have stronger quads or muscles and endurance and all of that stuff from birth, and then train them up, it's going to be a very different tale for someone who hasn't been modified. So to put them in a situation, for example, where they're competing to fight, that would be highly unfair to the one who's not modified. So for me, that would be the regulations and policies that we have to put in place. But otherwise from that, I'm all for it, as I said.
Sandra, what about a different kind of ethic? Because you embrace the work ethic. We've seen your social. We see you.
Thank you.
The commitment to hydration, the commitment to eating better, the commitment to exercise, even if you feel you don't.
And it shows, by the way.
And it shows. My exercise is watching her social media, right? I don't actually get up and do anything. But, you know, what about that ethic?
You know, persons always say that, you know, as a cosmetic surgeon, you know, you shouldn't be doing anything. You should stay the way God made you, you know, people, which is another conversation. But is God a part of this process, the genetical engineering? I mean, we will eliminate God. I mean, it's not ethics, but
that's
that side of it. The other part of it, I know you asked about ethics, is that I hope we'll be genetically engineering like emotional intelligence, kindness, compassion, empathy. You know, let's send the makers those questions.
Yeah.
And in terms of the ethics,
makers.
and in terms of the ethics,
I like it.
we have to really, really dig deep, because we don't want this to be a monopoly for the evil eyes or the evil heart. We really have to, because persons who are wealthy are powerful, and with power, many things are possible.
Right.
And you know, not all powerful persons have great intentions.
Yeah, or empathy.
Or empathy.
Yeah.
So we have to really keep an eye on that.
You know, as you mentioned that and spoke about the makers, I had a flashback to another movie I spent too much time watching and rewatch, and I'll probably watch it this evening just because it came up. Austin Powers with Dr. Evil, and he engineered. I'm not the only one that has time to waste. So the concept that someone or someone's, a group of people, can sit down and plan ahead. We want to optimize the chances of Team X in the 2048 Olympics. And we want to get the Jamaican domination of relays and track and field out of the question. So you have a team come out of obscurity with these genetically engineered athletes with probably no emotional intelligence. What kind of society is that? What kind of world is that? Do I even want to be alive with that kind of sterility and pattern and uniformity?
And there'll be no fun, because then there's going to be a sense that only the advantaged and the powerful nations will have the benefit of really competing and rising to the top. The poorer nations will not be able to compete in that sense. And there'll be a lot of issues when it comes to governments relating and that power balance, that shift in power balance. You know, and those things lead to wars.
And what about the self-esteem aspect of it because, you know, create a dichotomous society. We already have a dichotomous society, but when you see the genetically engineered super race walking past you and you're a regular, normal, genetically, you know, unengineered individual. How does that?
I'm highly engineered. God highly engineered me.
Already, exactly.
Let's get an amen.
Yeah, amen.
Okay? So for the biotically engineered, I would have so much pity on that person. I'm like, oh my God, you're not having fun in life. Like, you're not having as much fun as me, because you're just training for the 2028 Olympics. Listen, what about fun? And you know, I have to ask other things. You know, do you have other soft skills? And they won't. So I will not feel anyway if I see them walk past me, because I have all of that.
Oh, you do the famous Jamaican pour you.
I love the confidence. Pour you.
But that kind of confidence is easy for Sandra Swaby, don't you think, Kirk? I mean,
She makes it very easy. Well, the thing is, right,
is it because I love my imperfections?
How would I feel about it? Yeah, that's really what it is. It comes down to when, you know, the genetically modified people walk past, it comes down to, am I comfortable in my own skin? Right, which is something that we all have to learn and developed over time, which Dr. Swaby here is a master of.
She says, no, when Sandra Swaby says she's working on it, I don't feel no pressure then that I still only have a ab, not 6 or 2 or 4, just a ab. One.
Is it a ab or an ab?
I have a collective ab, all 6 merged in one mass. Wow. That's beginning to hang over my belt, but that's another story altogether. Now, let us also talk about what it means for the advance of humanity. Are such persons, would such persons be persons? Would they be people? Will they be human as we understand humanity?
Will they genetically engineer out illnesses? because the planet needs to have a turnover. How long will they engineer these people to live?
for.
You know, how long are they going to live? Because people have to die for people to.
Do we have to
born. We must. We must.
Do we have to?
We should.
Because going on the other side of the spectrum there, right? If we do, genetically modify out illnesses and get rid of people who are susceptible to diabetes and all of that stuff and extend our lifespans, right? We do live longer, but you ask the question, do people have to die?
Yeah,
right?
they do. Let me give you a real life memory. I remember sitting down at my grandmother's bed, and she started to call the names of, and she's like, Mercelyn dead, Classy dead, Cicilline dead, Mina dead, and then she said, midday I like me a Methuselah. I want to go on my yard. And I was like, Nana, will you stop?
That's very great.
And she lived to the ripe old age of 99 years, 9 months, and 4 days.
Oh, wow.
But for the last couple of months in particular, I remember this fatigue. Yes. We're ready for go on my yard. I was like, Nana, you're home. Stop saying that. Because, of course, the clinging grandchildren and children and great-grandchildren, this family icon, but you do have to die.
And then after a while, you're born in like the 90s, then the 2000s come, and then the 3000s come, and you're like, okay, I don't feel relevant anymore. You know, when I was growing up, this was not, I'm sure there's going to be even fatigue in the bionically engineered. Because at the end of the day, after a while, everything is just going to be like a humdrum.
Of course. But to be clear, though, we celebrate the advance in first mapping the DNA and the human genome, because we do have a lot more information as to how some cancers are formed and what lifestyle illnesses are versus what we thought we were genetically predisposed to have. You know, my granny is diabetic, my mother is diabetic. I'm not diabetic. I don't plan to be. I'm knocking the wood after speaking about sciences. Right. That's it. I lost my train of thought. Back to you, Dr. Swaby.
We were talking about bioengineered illnesses before, but what about if a country decides that they want to engineer a certain type of illness in these beings to sabotage certain situations? Listen, I'm a movie buff too, but let's get into it. We can engineering good qualities, but what about engineering negative qualities to sabotage? Or suppose there's an employee at the facility that has a writ against me, and I submit my application to have a baby, and they engineer, you know, a small male organ in my son. I would object. I would be very sad.
This is where the policies,
no, I'm just saying. No,
rules
think about
and regulations
think about it.
come in place.
Think about it.
I did not see that on the horizon at all.
But Ray, you see it now, right?
Yeah, no, well, of course, you've planted it in my head, you know. Well, thank God. Never mind. But Kirk, you know, have you seen the movie Aeon Flux?
Yes. I loved it.
I love that movie, and I remember one woman removed her feet and replaced them with another pair of hands because she thought that would genetically help her situation. And she actually demonstrated the advantage of having 4 arms instead of 2 arms and 2 legs.
Like chimps.
Basically.
So question for you guys, both of you guys. We have an opportunity to engineer a change in us, right? Because we're talking about this, and the manufacturers say, listen, we're going to treat you to a genetical engineering session, and you'll be able to get rid of a trait. What would be yours? What would be yours? And I tell you what would be mine.
I'm getting back my hair. You remember when I had hair?
Yes, Ray. That was 30 years ago.
I'd like to be a little bit taller, just a little bit.
There's a song. I wish I could be taller. I wish I had something like a baller. That's
Wait a minute.
One.
So you're saying if you get back here, you'll be happier? Because you're so handsome, Ray. You're so handsome like that.
I'm glad we didn't take the break until she said that.
Yes.
But we have another break. We'll come back for final thoughts.
You are.
Not only one of the best topics, one of the best during the break conversations, but it's time for final thoughts, which is sort of started thanks to that excellent question you asked. If that's one thing you could change, what's your one thing?
My one thing would be I would love to be able to center myself easier. Like I find that, you know, to get to a central point and, you know, meditate and balance my nervous system, my sympathetic nervous system, I have challenges doing it. If I had the powers to just center myself and namaste in a second, yes, I would go for that one. Yeah.
Kirk, your final thoughts?
My final thoughts is I'm all for genetic modifications of humans, sorry, not of
Of the humans.
No, not pets,
He's
not pets.
a bionic. We just got the proof.
So yeah, I'm all for it as long as it's done in a safe way, right? Where we don't have, you know, mishaps where, like, you know, you're growing with an extra arm through your head or something, stuff like that. Because things do go wrong.
And what happens to the different stages? Let's go back to Resident Evil.
Hold on, we don't have that much time. We don't have that much time. We don't have that much time. But yeah, I'm all for it, and we all should proceed in the research and development of, you know, eradicating diseases, extending the human life, not to 1,000 years or whatever, right? You still have to have a limit. I do agree with that part. You still have to have a limit on how long a person should live in order for them to appreciate the life that they have.
Yeah.
So if you can't die, then you won't appreciate the life that you have, right?
Then
So
you get narcissistic.
running through my final thoughts right here.
It's like this song.
So yeah, I'm all for it. So we should have guidelines as well, as we establish. But if I decide that, you know, I'm an evil person.
If you decide you're evil.
If I'm an evil person and I want my kid, I said this to you in WhatsApp, if I want my kid to have 4 arms, right, fully functioning and having their minds of their own, able to, like, put multitasking on another level, who's to tell me that I'm not allowed to do that if I can afford it?
Okay.
Right, so, you know, we're seeing the full spectrum here. We're seeing the full spectrum. I want to say I support the research and the capacities that come with that.
Yes.
But, you know,
You have to be careful.
we have to be careful.
Conscientious.
And I think I like us as we are, but, you know, that's all the time we have for this topic this morning. Our very special guest is cosmetic surgeon and 2024 Miss Jamaica Universe pageant contestant.
Miss Lifespan.
Miss Lifespan, Dr. Sandra Swaby.
Thank you for having me.
Be sure
was a pleasure
to
having
follow her journey to the 2024 Miss Universe Jamaica Grand Coronation
The
Show,
Dr. Sandra Swaby.
which is set for July 6th. And enjoy the rest of your day, guys. And consider that thing about you that is so unique that you would not want it changed prior to your birth.
Nice.
So you would not have discovered who you really are. Be good and be on purpose.
Surely goodness and mercy shall follow I all the days of my life.